What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Sports from the Chair. It is me, Corey. With me, as always, my co-host.
It's your boy Trey. How y'all doing today?
What's up? What's up? All right, now we got a couple things to get into today. We're gonna go a bit backwards. Normally, most podcasts go for the good news first, and then round it out with the bad news, or at least the stuff that's like a bit more prevalent. We're gonna go a little backwards here because we have a lot of good things to talk about in Philly sports, but we do still have to address the elephant in the room when it comes to the Sixers. So, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous.
How you want to get into it? I'm saying, how you want to get into it?
All right, well, I mean, we can talk about a few things. I mean, there's a draft. I mean, for those of you who didn't see, I posted a video talking about the top 5 guys I would draft at pick 16 this year for the Sixers. Looking at this draft, it is a stronger draft than most people think, in my opinion. Taking a deeper dive, there are a couple guys that can definitely impact the Sixers now. However, with these rumors coming out, we might not even hold on to that pick. Like I said, we have the 16th pick this year. We have picks 16 and 41. 16, yeah. 16 is like a little bit outside the lottery, but...
Wait. Why? Okay, hold on. Just because I'm gonna let you talk about the players as far as who looks like a good draft for the pick for a team, right?
Yeah.
But can we talk about, as you stated before, just how the 76ers are approaching this draft? How did we get into a situation where we are picks and it's not even like we're like if we were a top team in the playoffs,
Yeah.
I could see like okay. We were one of the teams that just barely survived in playoffs and then didn't survive. Like it was like I'm not trying to crap or on 76ers for real, because I personally respect and love the team. Do I think they're awesome and great? I don't know, but I respect and love the team. But how the management or just the planning around it just really, really needs to change, because y'all already didn't know how to manage your own players. Now y'all don't even know how to manage your draft picks, or at least make it so you could get better draft picks. Or
Okay, so I can explain. So the 16th pick, basically, like you said, we made it to the playoffs, but we were like just barely in. Compared to a lot of other teams, we were like kind of bottom barrel average.
But
with
the
records.
16th one isn't even bothering me. It's the fact that it's only those two, and then the second one is the 41st pick.
Well, yeah, because so a lot of the picks that we have, a lot of the 16th pick, I believe, is either it's our own. I think the 16th pick is our own. However, a lot of picks we had, we traded away with like James Harden deal and all that, and we
Again, don't know how to manage.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that still goes into. I don't think their team knows how to manage their team.
That was just a Daryl Morey move, to be honest. That was Daryl Morey trying to recreate the Rockets, only this time having Joel Embiid at the center.
Exactly, because y'all focused on getting the one player and bringing him, and I'm like, this will change our team. This one player, no, y'all need to fix on the whole team, and you just weren't realizing that.
The 41st pick, I believe that is a pick we got in a trade, in the James Harden trade when we sent him to Clippers. But yeah, those are the 16th pick. The reason why it's at 16, I believe, is because, like you said, we made it to the playoffs, but just barely got in. So we're kind of in that like average, below average tier range compared to other teams. So it's still a fairly high pick. I mean, it's top 20.
That's why it makes the most. That makes the most sense. It's just the difference going from 16 to 41. Because 16 is like, okay, I can see how we got here.
Yeah,
I understand how we got here. And then it's 41, and I'm just like, you guys wasted
so many
like so much time, so many assets for a person that didn't even want to be there.
This team
that was really, because we're not going to talk about how he was there for a year, but there for really half a year, there for really half a season,
a year and a half. So we traded for him halfway through the season, and then he stayed for an extra year.
Did he stay? But did he play? That's what we're like. Did he stay or did he?
He gave us good moments. I will say this: James Harden, he gave us good moments, and he helped Tyrese's growth. Like Maxi play right now.
Okay.
A lot of his moves, I won't say a lot.
His
some of his
movement
moves, it's similar to James,
it's based off being around James.
Yeah,
because
when he has that, he does the step back now. Like, oh my gosh, I love that step back. Like when he the travel step back. Where it looks like he's taking like 3-4 extra steps.
Again, based off of playing with James, which I get. Like he was coming in at a time. James was kind of the vet, even though he wasn't the vet on this team, but he was still the vet, and they were in the same positions or similar positions. So it was like, he's going to idolize him. I get it.
He did say, I think it was an old video I found. I think he was in high school. Someone asked him who his favorite player was, and he said it was James Harden. So for him, it was probably a dream come true. Yeah, in hindsight, I mean, yeah, even though we didn't win anything, I think the experience that in the mentorship that Tyrese received from James and players like James, players like Kyle Lowry, that's stuff that you can't take for granted. That's stuff that like no one really, not many people get that in their careers. That's stuff that you hope for, but not many people actually receive. For the most part, it's basically you just on your own trying to survive and trying to make it work. But Tyrese has been, like, for no matter how you slice it, Tyrese has been in a good position as far as people he's played with, people he's been mentored by. It's a good list so far. I mean, before he got into the league, he was mentored by Rondo. When he's gotten into the league, he's played with Seth Curry, the brother of the greatest shooter in NBA history, and still it's like Seth is still a really good shooter in his own right, and that helped Tyrese a lot too. With Danny Green, Danny Green's a 3-time champion. It may not be a all-star level player, but he is a good veteran. He's a savvy player, and he's another guy who is a very good 3-point shooter for his career. Then James. James has been an MVP level player, a guy who has claimed multiple scoring titles, has took the league by storm in Houston, and was being talked about as possibly the greatest scoring threat in NBA history at one point. So Tyrese's resume as far as teammates he's played with is amazing. However, again, back to the main task at hand, though, that has not really gotten us over the hump. Like, we still are here trying to fight, claw, and scrape for a championship berth, to bring a trophy. The Larry O.B. down Broad Street. That is the thing we are still pining for.
So Larry O.B.
That's what it's called. So the NBA trophy is called the Larry O'Brien Trophy. So
honestly, I don't think it sounds familiar, but I've never heard it be called that. Like, personally, like I've very much heard the O'Brien, or is maybe O'Brien Trophy, but it's never clicked in my head. So it's just, more Sorry,
yeah.
Sorry, cut you off.
You're good. But yeah, this is a lot with this team, and there's been so many rumors. I understand. Like, if a big name gets put on the trade block or is mentioned or is rumored, of course it's understandable to be excited about getting that player. However, most people try to look at it for face value, not realizing that you can't just put guys together and just expect it to work. You can't. It's not like you can put star player X with star player Y and then it was just click.
And think they're gonna be best buddies and they never played together.
You need chemistry. You need guys who are compatible on the court, and that's something that the Sixers have not tried to work towards in so long. We have tried to go top heavy for a while, and it's never worked. We've always been top heavy with no bench, and yet we're still making
top
the same
heavy
mistakes.
with no bench. And it's like, for me, that's the only reason why is like I really haven't looked too much into the Sixers, but also I just like I don't know. I'm hoping, but also very much content in thinking or realizing that they're not gonna change. They're not gonna change in the fact that they've been going through the same process of off season and coming back as a quote new team, but really just same team with 2, maybe 3 new players, and then the whole season being just about those 3 players. Meaning we're not going to worry about trying to build up our benches. We're not going to worry about trying to build in a second team. We're not even going to try to worry about building in a 4th player to go around a big 3 or even a big 2, because we barely have a big 3.
That's the thing, though. I don't think big 3 is the way we should go about it. Big 3s are something that...
It's not.
You look at... This has been my thing for a lot. Like, if you look at the past 5-6 years of NBA champions, guys who make it far in the playoffs, they make it that far not because they have a super team or a stacked team at the top in their starters. No, that hasn't been the case since the Warriors had KD. Nowadays, when teams win championships or make it far in the playoffs, it's because they have great stars, two at most.
At most. And then they have a great team around them.
You have high-end role players who know their role, who know how to execute, and who do their job well around them.
Matter of fact, what's one of the lines? I think one of the lines from the quote from the Michael Jordan quote documentary, where
The Last Dance.
I think so, where literally someone from the Bulls team at that time, or at least in the coaching at that time, told a story about how Michael literally got Dennis on the team strictly because he makes rebounds or gets rebounds. He doesn't score. He can't do anything else. He can't dribble, score, nothing. But they needed the rebounds.
He can rebound and play
he was
defense.
on a championship team for what, 3 seasons?
Yeah, more than 3 seasons.
4 seasons?
Yes.
And all he was doing was getting the rebounds.
Because he was still there when Jordan left for 2 years, retired, and then came
but
back.
even then, you saw Jordan at least saw what type of team that was prior to, or at least knew what that team needed to become the championship Bulls.
You look at.
He said we needed the rebounds. I'm just waiting for the 76ers to realize, oh, we don't need such and such players. We need players that can do this. We need players that can do this. So we don't need so and so who's a player. We don't need so and so who's a player. We need players that can do this.
When you look at the last few championship teams, Milwaukee, you had your star player in Giannis, star player in Middleton. The rest were high-end role players, fringe all-star guys. Drew Holiday was an all-star guy. He was mainly brought there for his play.
He was a role point guard still, because he was a star.
Yes.
He was a star until he got there. Then he became a role guy because he didn't mind not being a star. He wasn't trying to be a star.
He took a back seat.
He was okay with that back seat.
Because before he came there, he was in New Orleans with AD, and he was
one
pretty
of
much
the two.
the second guy.
Yeah,
but that they just could not make it work. And also, it was a stacked Western Conference. On the Bucks, you have him as the third, fourth option. You have him as a guy who with two-way ability. You bring him there to score and play defense. You have other shooters around Giannis, so his offense isn't as dependent on.
I just want to say, just to make our points just that much more clear, or we're not just speaking out our ass type shit. Look at the Bucks now with Damian Lillard.
Yes.
And Giannis and Middleton. Yes, Damian Lillard, he's great. He's a great player. Don't get me wrong, and I'm sure he gets along with his teammates. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is his fault or anything, but look how much the team has fallen. At least not like fallen for real, because they're still a top tier team.
They've lost their identity.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They look how much they've fallen. They went from being one of the top tier teams out of nowhere to just they're just the Bucks with Damian Lillard now, or they're just so and so with Damian. Like, it's not even like it was Giannis's team and then it worked around Giannis. It was Giannis's team, but they made it work around him to where you knew it wasn't just Giannis.
Because you built the team around his strengths. He's not a shooter.
Because
he's not a guy.
Exactly. They had Middleton who was a shooter. They had Drew Holiday who was the passer. Like, you had people working around that we knew. Okay, yeah, Giannis is the big guy, but we know it isn't him. Making his team work, or isn't just him. Now with them and then Damian Lillard, but now with them and Damian Lillard and another big name shooting guy, when you have Middleton still there, it's like, okay, now what's Middleton doing? Now y'all not using Middleton like you can or you should be. Now Damian is all covered up because everyone's expecting him to shoot. Now Giannis is like, it's all about Giannis, or just trying to get Giannis the ball because he has no help now.
When Dame first got to the Bucks, there was reports coming out that Giannis was saying that, it's Dame's team. Nigga, no. I understand. Dame has been in the league longer than Giannis.
And this isn't us crapping on Damian Lillard because he's great. It's proving a point about how teams in the NBA, more or less, need to stop trying to work around the whole one person image.
I understand with Giannis. Dame's been in the league longer than him. Dame has had a bit more showings in the playoffs than him. Before the championship, that is. Dame knows a bit more about, like, I guess, what it takes to really get far, what it takes to really make it, and he knows Dame was something that they were missing. However, dude, it is your team. It has been your team since they made you the star guy. You got drafted there. You won a championship there. You are the Finals MVP when you guys won the championship. You have been the MVP winner
It's
for
just-
that team.
it was just like-
you should not be giving. I understand wanting to have him fit in and stuff, but you should not be giving up your stance as leader of the team to someone who just came in, no
But,
matter
I mean-
what their accolades are.
I mean, granted, is it done differently? Yeah, but it's the same thing as Harden going to, like, when he came to the 76ers and how the team tried, taking it off of, like, oh, this going from Joel's team to being James Harden's team, and that failed horrendously. Like, y'all keep doing what works. Don't change it up just because a big name star comes into your team and that you think will help just because they're doing so well with their own team.
That's the problem, though. We don't know how to do anything right for this team. We don't have our own identity. We just know, hey, give it to Joel, and that was it. Now let's give it to Joel and Maxey. That's it. After that, we have no real bench. We have no supplemental guys to really help. Tobias was horrible. The bench was crappy. Look, okay, this past season, did we get some guys who were decent, helped out a bit? Yes. There was Batum. There was Oubre. There was Campaign. Campaign did a great job, and I honestly would love to have him back in the offseason. However, after that, compared to other teams in the league, most teams that made it and got far, again, look at the Nuggets, look at the Pacers right now, look at the Timberwolves. You have guys who have size, have length, are young and athletic.
Even with the Pacers, like they have. I don't know his full name, so I'm not gonna try and butcher it. But
Tyrese Halliburton.
Thank you, Halliburton. I was trying to say his last name, but they have Tyrese Halliburton as their star. But they also are a working team, knowing that it's not just Tyrese. They are working because of their center. That center. Miles Turner is a beast, and he's not talked about enough.
I will say
they're working because they are using their components. Even with one taking the limelight, they're using their components not like one is a star, but like they're a team.
I will say they like certain teams, they understand and know. Like some of the players understand and know, like, hey, this is where we're going. With the Pacers, they're a very young team. Miles Turner and Halliburton are the main two like all-star level players there. However, they have a young team and guys around them who they're basically playing with house money. No one expected them to win a championship. However, with that youth and experience, and with that like athleticism, they're betting on house money. They're just going out there and just playing hard. That's just their style. Their coach, Rick Carlisle, realized, hey, this is the direction we're going. This is the direction the league's going. I'm going to switch up my traditional style, and that's worked for them so well. So look at the Timberwolves. They tried so long to build that team around Karl Anthony Towns. Ant came there and he said, yeah, what's my team? And then Cat willingly was like, hey, you got it, and it's working.
That's the thing. It's working because whereas Giannis was like, oh, Damian pulled up and it's his team, blah, blah, Cat was like, hey, Giannis is doing it like, oh, I'm just giving up, or oh, it's not really my team, or oh, I'm not really caring about that, exactly. Like that, whatever. Cat was like, hey, no, we need him.
Yes.
I see that I'm kind of messing with whatever, but we need him.
Like Cat,
Cat came in embracing that.
He realized he's not like for so long they tried to make him number one, like the guy. He realized, hey, I'm not really that person.
Or just I need some work. Like he knows he's good, but
this isn't to like shoot down Cat because he's still a really good player. But like, game is game. We realize like Cat, he has a lot to offer for any team, but at the same time, he's not the guy to really take you over the hump. Anthony Edwards came in. He has the attitude, he has the skill, he has the game, and he has, surprisingly, because he's so young, he has the leadership ability to take your team to places where they have not been before. And he's doing amazingly on the Timberwolves right now. And they've had good pieces around their star players that have done very, very well. You have McDaniels, you had Kyle Anderson, you have a bunch of guys who have size and can play defense. A lot of good two-way ability, to be honest. That's a good identity for the Timberwolves that they have fit for themselves. I'm just hoping that the Sixers will someday realize, hey, this is the direction the league is going. We have to follow this direction. I'm tired of them trying to recreate the wheel. Why are you doing that? The blueprint is laid out for you. Just follow the freaking blueprint. It makes no sense. Now, the rumors for so far, we've been linked to literally everyone under the sun because of our cap space situation. We've been linked to Paul George. That is not a good decision. I really do not want Paul George here. We've been linked to OG Anunoby now. OG Anunoby, if he might stay with the Knicks. People are saying he might not. I don't know if I want to give him that much money.
Just cut you off quick about the Paul George thing, about my opinion on it. I completely get why. After we were just talking about, I get why you don't want Paul George here, and I understand. Do I think he could maybe, if he came in with someone like explaining to him like, hey, you're not gonna be a star, or hey, you're not gonna be the only star, because I feel like again, James Harden came in thinking or acting or being like the star type of thing. If Paul George, who's only because I don't think he has too much of an ego or too much of a head right in his head right now.
Considering how much he wants to get paid, I would say that ego is alive and well.
Okay, yes. But as far as like ball hog ego, that's what I mean. Do I feel like he yes? Do I feel like he yes? He has an ego. He's about him being this great player and whatnot. When he not clutch, but when he really chokes a lot more in playoffs than not. Yes, that would be an ego for like saying he needs a higher pay raise or so. But I still think he's someone who could see if talk like actually committed and talk to him about it, he could see himself as a role player and actually play like a role player.
I will admit for Paul. Okay, I will say this for Paul George. In his defense, he has not really been in a situation where he could like take a back seat. Because when you look at his career with the Clippers so far,
He kind of did with Kawhi. He kind of did.
Okay, well, here's the thing though. With him and Kawhi, they tried to do that, and that was supposed to be the plan. However, Kawhi kept getting injured in the offseason, in the playoffs. So Paul George had to pull more of his own weight. He had to get back in his bag. He had to be that lead guy. Where that wasn't that wasn't what he was brought there for. He was brought there to be a backup. He's brought there to be a Robin to Kawhi's Batman, and that just hasn't worked out. And then they tried to get Russell over there. They tried to get Harden over there, and it just did not pan out the way they expected. Honestly, I'm not gonna say that's what they get, but I mean, what did you expect, Sherlock? I mean, you have guys who. Okay, I love Russ. I will always respect Russell Westbrook for his game, his attitude that he brings to the game. But at the same time, you knew what Westbrook was before he even got there. You knew that this man was very limited offensively. He was not going to be the guy that he was on OKC when there was no Harden or KD. Because that was basically him playing the house money, and that was OKC doing everything they could to build around him. You're bringing him here as a piece to build around you. Harden, I get the idea of having Harden there. However, you have a bunch of guys who do not play well in the playoffs. All together on one team. The only one who had really good playoff success was Kawhi, and even then, that's when he's fully healthy. That is not going to be especially now when Adam Silver's trying his hardest to get load management out of the league. That was never going to happen. That was never going to work out for the Clippers. I get wanting to give your fans hope, and that's why I'm sure they will find a way to pay Paul George. They will find a way to bring back James Harden. However, it's just you're not going to go anywhere with that team. You're just not. Now, going to OG Anunoby, look, OG is a great 3-and-D player. We saw what he did with the Knicks this past season. We saw how much of a pest he was. Honestly, I believe he fit more with the Knicks than Julius Randle did. However, for the price tag, yes. But Julius Randle, look, I respect Julius Randle. I respect the player he is. However, the way he plays does not fit all that well with the Knicks system. He had good moments, yes. However, when you look at how they play with the team they had without Julius, compared to if Julius was there, I believe Julius Randle would be more of a hindrance than a help. He would give you some good games here and there, yes. However, he is not a seamless fit. It's wonky. It's clunky. It's something that it is going to hurt you at times. With OG, shoot threes in the corner and play defense on the opposing team's best player. That's what you brought him there for, and that's what he did excellently. And then you have the Villanova boys rounding it out. You have Brunson doing his thing. You have Hart being that hustle guy, getting rebounds, being another pest on defense, shooting a timely three here and there when he's on. You have DiVincenzo, who shoots the lights out, and it's just insane. And then you have your centers and Hartenstein and Mitchell, who, when they are healthy, can cause problems for opposing teams' centers. So that's a team who they brought into the system. Thibodeau has them playing and executing very well. And that's the reason they got so far, even though they didn't make the conference finals. They still had very impressive showing this year and last year, in my opinion. Randall would just hold that back. OG though, with the price tag that he wants, mind you, before he got traded to New York, there were multiple reports saying that New York was the ideal place he wanted to go, and he was willing to take a pay cut in order to stay there. Now, there are reports saying that it might not be so, it might not be as much of a match made in heaven as we expected, and he may test free agency after the way things ended. With OG, I would love to have him here. However, with the price tag he's trying to command, because he's trying to get paid, I think $40 annually, $40 million annually. I don't want that price tag. I don't.
$40 million annually.
Yes. It's less than what Paul George is asking for, but I still don't really want that price tag. Would he be? Is he a good option if we really just don't have anything else? Yes.
Is he a good role player? Because that's what we need. We do not need any more stars.
He definitely is, and he's a guy who again, he's like a fringe all-star guy. He may not make it to an all-star team, but he will give you the hustle and energy like he is an all-star.
Okay. Which could be good on the court, in the games.
And he knows his role, and he plays it well. Again, it's just that price tag for me, and also his injury history, because he got injured a couple times for the Knicks this season. Of course, it's Thibodeau as well, because he's known to kind of run his players into the ground. You saw Josh Hart; he played them 40 minutes a game multiple nights when they played against us, and when they played against the Pacers. So it comes with the territory. But again, I just don't know if I really want OG for that price tag. Considering ideally, I would love for us to round out this team with high-end role players and build a bench up and get suitable guys who complement your two stars, rather than getting someone in Paul George who will probably take the ball out of Tyrese's hands and will fade in the postseason. And then looking at the draft, it's better to build up guys, build up that bench, build up a roster that you can rely on. Because that's another way that a lot of these teams have made it this far. You look at the Bucks; they drafted Giannis, they drafted Middleton. I believe they either traded for or signed Lopez in free agency. I think they signed Bobby Portis, but they still have their system and it's in place and it works. The Nuggets, they drafted Jokic, they drafted Jamal Murray, they drafted Michael Porter Jr., they drafted Christian Braun. They traded for Aaron Gordon, but Aaron Gordon is a guy who realized he's not number one. And he fits well in his role as a third option defender, rebounder, give you points here and there.
Third option rebounder.
Yeah, he gives you points here and there, but he's mainly there for defense and rebounding. Even the Celtics, they have drafted Tatum. They've drafted Brown. They drafted Peyton Pritchard. I'm trying to think back to all their picks. I know they traded for Porzingis, but basically all these teams have systems in place that makes up their identity, and they follow that to a T. You don't see any team that's gotten far or won a championship by being top-heavy, having complete all-star juggernauts across the board and starting lineup, and then having nobody's on the bench. There's just no way. You should look at the Suns. That's one of the reasons why they fail. You have KD, Booker, and Beal. Yes, that's a great trio on paper. However, when you really get down to it, you are in cap hell because all of your money is tied into those three. You have a horrible bench because you can't afford to get the right guys in there to support them. And then you have guys who are offensive juggernauts but aren't known for playing defense. Where I understand wanting to make moves, make splashes, and set yourselves up, but at the same time, you're hurting yourselves more than you're getting an advantage. And now people are saying, I've seen some people say the trade for KD, we would be in the same situation that the Suns are.
No,
we don't need the same situation that the Suns are.
We don't got the money and it won't help.
Exactly. We would be in the same situation. If we trade for KD, we have to sign Tyrese to his max, and we still have Embiid on max money right now. We are stuck again in the same place we were before. No bench. And then, worst case scenario, which most likely will happen, Embiid and KD get injured in the postseason, and then it's Tyrese having to carry the team, and that's an outcome and result that I do not want to watch. I really don't. At this point, we are at a.
Tyrese can. Never mind. Continue.
No.
Sorry. All right. Continue.
Tyrese, I love Tyrese, but he's not at the point to carry a team right now. And even still, that's not a point. We're not there in the NBA anymore. Right now, we're at a point where you need multiple guys. There's no one guy carrying a team anymore. Even in Dallas. Luka was the main guy carrying the Mavericks for a minute, but it didn't work. Then they got Kyrie, and then when that wasn't working because they were just offense, they got more guys to supplement them. That's when you got PJ Washington. When you got Derrick Jones Jr. That's when you drafted Derek Lively. You get guys who can complement your star players. Literally, it's not rocket science, but yet the Sixers act like it is. I don't. It's like
I'm
a
gonna say
foreign
it's not rocket
concept.
science, but I don't think the Sixers know that. Or at least, okay. So again, yeah, we're gonna crap on Sixers. We're Philly natives. It's the team we care about. But it's not just them. It is, like you said, there's a few teams in the league right now that really understand the premise of building around a team
Properly building a team.
and not just building around one player on the team. Yes.
No, I was like, it's the difference between properly building a team and then just saying, then just throwing crap at the wall and hoping it sticks. That's what the Sixers do. We throw crap at the wall and hope it sticks.
Oh my
Instead
God.
of properly following the formula and the plan laid out by other teams in the league and looking around the landscape
Which
and saying,
works so
this is
well.
what's happening. Follow this blueprint.
But it's like, oh, everyone's talking about big threes. All that matters is big threes. We got to form our own. We failed at that. You know what? Let's form our own. One of our stars and make it seem like we have one, and then fail at that horrendously, and not learn from our mistakes.
I'm at a position right now where I do not feel that we are going to have a suitable team. Okay, I'll put it this way. I've seen the Phillies win the World Series. I've seen the Eagles win the Super Bowl. I have yet to see the Sixers win a NBA championship in my lifetime. I just want to see that one time and then I will be happy. I don't care what happens after that. I don't care if the team is piss poor for decades. As long as I see one NBA championship, I will hang my hat on that and be happy.
I will say I don't want the team to be piss poor for decades, because then it's just gonna be plummeting every
Well,
time
yeah,
after.
I don't want that either. But you know what I'm
But
saying.
but I mean, I understand it still, because it is kind of crazy if you think about, like, all these teams were in the same kind of area where, like, oh, they were great in one era in history in the past, and then there was so much fumbling. Now they had to pick themselves up, try and redo, pick themselves up. It's just funny that the Eagles were able to rebuild themselves, the Phillies rebuilt themselves, and the 76ers acted like they rebuilt themselves. But one of these things is not like the other.
Not like the other at all.
Because two rebuilds brought two championships. One rebuild brought just more disappointment.
Here's the thing: we have owners in the Sixers who, it seems like they care more about just making money and putting fans in seats rather than actually trying to build competent teams to
learn,
win.
or even just learning from your past mistakes on the team, or mistakes with dealing with that said team. Just like you have to realize, as the owners, I would hope, you have to realize less and less money is going to be coming to you with the team losing more and more.
Exactly.
Like your stands are going to start, like, what's the team that literally had to pay people like $10 to come into their stands?
I forgot.
I don't remember if it was during the pandemic or if it was prior to the pandemic, but there was one team that had actually, I think it was the Mavericks before a dude bought them.
It probably wasn't before Mark Cuban.
Before Mark bought them, I think.
Oh yeah, that was years ago.
But still, that's what's going to happen again with the 76ers. Like, people are just going to start not showing up, because if it's going to be this disappointing over and over,
if we can't pull it together, I'm not gonna lie. I'm fully expecting Joel to ask out and get traded. Even though he's going to be older, still I would understand.
he's going to ask out somehow.
I would understand him being in a better wanting to be in a better situation, because obviously the situation he's in now, they don't know how to properly build around him and don't know how to supplement his career. This man has gotten he will not walk properly in his future. 20 years, no, I'm serious. Looking at so many problems he's had with his foot injuries, knee injuries, he's had his meniscus worked on multiple times now.
This man going to be walking with a cane.
He might have to, and that's very sad.
It is sad if you think about it, but
it is because this damn team doesn't know how to build properly.
He's overworked.
You look at other teams. Jokic doesn't have to deal with this. Tatum doesn't have to deal with this. Luka doesn't. Luka gets injured, but he doesn't have to deal with this that much. These, like, your star player.
My thing is, even with Luke, even with like the whole Luka thing, as far as other teams that have star players and have them teams build around them, Luka, the Mavericks, is one of those teams that had Luka as a star player, and then they brought in Kyrie Irving, one of the top tier star point guards in the literal league for the past 10 years.
My favorite point guard in the league, honestly.
Honestly, and like whatever you think of his beliefs, how he views things, understandably, that's to each their own on that. I'm not going to get into that with him. But player wise, the man is up there with point guard position. He's up there with AI. Like
This man is poetry in motion when he plays.
he's up there with
basketball.
AI.
It's so beautiful to watch.
And the Mavericks perfectly made these two work together, and it not feel like one is outshining the other, and not feel like one is getting in the way of the other. Because Doncic is still over here shooting as he's shooting, doing his thing, and Kyrie is still being Kyrie. But yet, so many teams in the league, in the NBA, cannot seem to do the same. They get 2-star players, and then it's just those star players. Or it's just about that, and it just fails because no one else either feels like they're getting the ball enough or is actually being used enough to help the team.
And like, I will admit, there are other teams who have made bad decisions in the past. I mean, the Trailblazers had a chance to draft Michael Jordan, and then they passed up on that. The Pacers drafted Kawhi and then traded him to the Spurs. So hell, the Hornets drafted Kobe and traded him to the Lakers. Teams make mistakes. I know. I understand. At the same time, there's a difference between that and a team that's perpetually made mistake after mistake. Dude, it's making me so upset. I messed up the mic. Jesus. All right. But I'm going to calm down a bit. But again, seriously, it's just perpetual. It's like habitual, like mistake after mistake. It's almost like they want to do it on purpose now. This team, now we're in the position where we're hoping that somehow by some miracle we're able to pull it together and bring back guys who we should have kept in the first place in Mikal Bridges. Hope that other teams put guys in the market like Lauri Markkanen, hoping that somehow a Donovan Mitchell trade can materialize and happen and he can come to us. Which, look, I respect Donovan Mitchell. I love his game to an extent. However, I don't think a backcourt with him and Tyrese was going to get us over the hump because, again, those are two guys who are offensively strong, but defensively, no.
No, but these are offensively strong in the same thing, too. Yes. Because they're both shooters. They both can drive in out of nowhere. Maybe not the best ball handling skill, but they will drive and get past you. And they're just two of the same. Right now, two of the same players. It would be too clashing. Yeah. I would feel like.
I like, again, don't get me wrong. It would be like on paper, it would look nice.
But especially with the whole no defense thing, like one of them has to at least have defense. And Donovan Mitchell, he's working on it, but
both are working on it. So in the last video I posted on this channel, I put in clips of Tyrese playing defense, him getting steals, him getting blocks. However, it's not like a consistent thing. Tyrese will probably never make an all defensive team. He probably will never make an NBA all defensive team. However, he does show flashes of being a very decent defender at most when he's really locked in. Granted, he's always locked in, but still. So yeah, there is a lot there that I'm just not sold on, especially considering the capital that you have to give for them, and which mainly is going to be draft picks for us because we don't have anybody we can trade to them. What, Paul Reed? Look, I respect Paul, but who wants Paul Reed? Ricky Council, an undrafted guy who just got signed in.
Would they give up Aubrey? How do you say his last name? Junior.
Oubre,
thank you.
He's a free agent. That's what I'm saying. Everybody else is a free agent. We can bring them back and try.
I was saying because Oubre might get some ears perking if he's in the draft, if he's in the trade. That's what I'm saying.
I honestly would rather keep Oubre because he at least fits in the system of like what you want, like what you look for in a guy.
Yeah,
he fits that mold.
I'm just saying Oubre because of the fact of like what's a sacrifice more or less. I would say that we might have to make to trade as far as to save our cap, but still get a reasonable good player. Oubre would be a sacrifice. He's a good player on our team, definitely, which is why he would be a sacrifice, because he would be losing someone that's worth it, but also someone that you would know would other teams would look at as worth a trade or as worth like, okay, maybe we can put something good in here. Because other than that, you're kind of right. We don't really have anyone that we're willing to trade that's gonna be, perking ears up.
I was watching on another podcast that I watch and listen to, the PHOY Sports podcast. Very good podcast. Great group of guys. I was watching today, and they were literally like arguing, like intense arguments over like what to do with this team. This is what Daryl Morey. This is what the Sixers organization has done to us. This is what we are like. There's no reason that we should be this in shambles. Like seriously. And then they talked about possibly getting Zach LaVine as a last case scenario. Honestly, okay, I will say this. I was high on Zach LaVine in the offseason when we first had the issue with trading Harden away. I was high on LaVine when we had the chance to trade for him in the trade deadline. However, looking at Zach LaVine, there's obvious problems there. Zach LaVine, look, he's a 3-level scorer. He's a guy who can score in the paint, going for layups. He's a guy who can shoot threes. He's a guy who can honestly get a good mid-range game going. However, he is not, for all his athleticism, and he is very athletic still, he is not the best defender in the world. Zach LaVine is a guy who is basically a one-dimensional player. He will get you, again, he plays at very high level.
He's an all right defender in general. He's an all right defender in general.
When you look at him play, it's like he seems very disengaged on defense half the time. And even when he does play, it's like he doesn't even really put his full effort into it. He's a guy who, on paper, look, I would not be, like, it would be interesting having him with Joel and Tyrese. Look, there's going to be a lot of things that will have to shake out well in order to make that work, in my opinion. Would it be good last ditch effort, like last resort type thing? Yes. If that was the case, I would take it in a heartbeat. But that's not a guy who should be your priority. So we'll see how this whole offseason shakes, and we will revisit everything as it goes. The draft coming up, I believe, is on June 26th. So I'll be definitely on the lookout for that, trying to drum up more hype around that, and we'll see what happens. Well, last note, though, I would say I've seen a lot of people say, like, because this is considered one of the weakest draft class in a while, Daryl Morey should try to get more draft picks out, like, from other teams in this draft, because so many teams devalue this draft. I wouldn't be opposed to that if he actually thought that way, because at the same time, if we can't really get many guys in free agency, it would be like next case scenario would be, hey, let's just get draft picks and try to hit on as many guys as we can. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. It probably won't happen, but we'll see how this thing goes. All right, moving on from the Sixers, because I'm about to burst a blood vessel. Let's move on to something positive. Let's move on to the Eagles.
Okay.
So at the time we're recording this, OTAs have officially started. The Eagles, as a whole, the whole team has been at the NovaCare complex, getting ready, practicing. We are in, I think, day 2 or 3 right now of OTAs. So far, so good. A lot of guys are having great showings right now. Saquon's doing this thing. Our rookies are doing their thing. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, they're so far the standouts for the OTA so far. Jalen Hurts looks healthy. He looks ready to go. He's running again at his normal speeds. Honestly, looking at some clips, it looks like he's gotten faster. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this entire team. Now, looking at the first day of OTA, some people who were not there, looking at some players who were not there, Lane Johnson was not there, Devontae Smith was not there, Josh Sweat wasn't there, and I preface this to getting into this next person because James Bradbury was not there. Now, a lot of people have a bit of disdain for James Bradbury. They're ready for him to get traded, ready for him to lead the team after last year's showing. Trust me, I was one of those people. However, we need to pump the brakes a bit and about our expectations about some of these things. I mean, yes, a player missing OTAs, sometimes it's seen as like
I just feel like a lot of drama with the Eagles gets picked up too fast or
definitely.
It's a lot of stipulation because I don't know, it's always things moving around in football. So I guess too many times fans see or don't see any players in certain areas with the team, or we'll see certain players act a certain way with each other, and are too quick to go to judging things or assuming things like, he's not happy where he's at, or this, that, whatever. Y'all forget football is a very as like other sports are very active and skill and you know there's some that have like basketball and stuff that are physical and emotional. Football is strictly physical and emotional.
Yeah.
Like so so a lot of times like no matter how people feel maybe on James Bradbury or so as far as like his skill and whatnot, I don't think it's a big worry if he's not showing up to the practice to OTAs right now if Devontae Smith didn't show up.
Yeah,
because
like,
we know Devontae Smith is with us. We know he's sticking to the team. You know he's sticking around.
I mean, even given like the case that like with Bradbury, like we know he's probably not going to be on this team long term.
Yeah, and yeah.
At the same time, like we shouldn't put so much stock into he didn't show up to OTAs, like especially when other people didn't show up.
Especially when it's just with certain players on the Eagles, or at least more or less on the Eagles, that we like to try and stir up drama around or stir up things around because of how they act or whatever. We should, as fans, I feel like you should be able to read or know, or at least look into enough of these players that you love so much, that we love so much, to be able to tell, oh, this isn't how they were act, or this person is actually kinder than you know.
Read between the lines, basically.
Exactly. Like, come on, look at like how a lot of people perceived AJ Brown when they first saw him arguing with Jalen Hurts and the coach, and they first saw him getting kind of rampant, whatever, and then look back onto the media right after that, where he was like, oh, that's just me. That's just me and being emotional in the game. That's just the moment.
Him being passionate.
Exactly. Like if you've seen any other clip of him playing with, first of all, with him playing Jalen Hurts, because they're actually friends, you would know he's being passionate. He's being passionate with him always because they're genuine friends. Like they don't hold back punches. They don't hold back stuff. So if something pisses him off, it's gonna piss him off in the moment. But he's still gonna be with us. He's still gonna ride with us. He's still gonna be here. Now, as far as James Bradbury and how the fan base may take him not being in the practice, so we can take it how we want, or you can take it how you want, type of thing. But with him, you should also know him and the Eagles has had a love-hate relationship constantly now. So it's not like this is something that's like big out of the blue surprise or whatever, or a big worry. Whereas like if he just isn't around for a bit, he may just not be around for a bit, but he could come through with us and be there in the season. Or if he's not, then he's not. We should all be kind of understanding at this point that James Bradbury is not like, now, you know, we don't need him because we would definitely need him type of thing, but he's also been someone that's very, we haven't been shit without him type of thing. So it's like he has, not like he's lackluster or so, but like last season he was very much not around. Like he was in the games early on, but then very much close to like mid to the end, he was very much not around. And until the end, really, we were doing just fine. So, and I just feel like we all feel like the end also slipped up because we did have a lot more injuries in the defensive backs and such around that time. So we maybe did need him or at least someone else, you know, filling that position.
There were a lot of issues with the team last year.
There was a lot of injuries with the team last year.
He didn't exactly help with
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like his presence wasn't such of like a big deal to where I don't think people need to make it such a big deal if he's just not around right now, or if he just doesn't end up being around for real, because it's like it's not the first time that we've kind of had stipulations of him leaving or should we keep him, is he staying. And at this point, with this being 2 seasons in with those same stipulations, I think he's been with us for 3.
This is his 3rd year coming up.
Yeah, his 3rd year coming up. But with the past 2 seasons going in, have been having him surrounded by the same stipulations of will he do anything for us? Will he actually help us? Is it worth having him around on the team? Going into this season with that same stipulation, we should just accept the point of if he isn't with us, if he doesn't help us, he's not meant for us. If it does help us, then you know.
Keep going. Sorry.
I'll try to figure out how well they're trying to blow up in the mic. But yeah, so if he is good for us, like then it's great. But at this point, we shouldn't be so worried about him as a player. Yeah. I feel just because he's kind of taking part of what we were just talking about in the NBA, having kind of like those role players or those people that's like filling out those roles around the main stars or filling out those roles that was like we could replace. Kind of, he's one of those people where like we could replace and have replaced his role or other people to fill out his role.
Especially considering we have such a deep stock of cornerbacks.
Exactly.
We can make this work. Like it's like I am so happy where we're at cornerback wise. That's an issue I don't mind having.
But and the thing is, I feel like off of last season, a lot of our cornerbacks or a lot of our DBs were getting hurt. So the fact that we do have some in stock or we have this many in stock is a good thing personally, I feel, because our defense kept not, like it's their fault or not like it's meant to happen, but our defense kept coming up short because we kept having people being injured in our defense.
Yeah.
So having those background people just in case, having people that are there just in case of a worry or just for, just as a practice or in case or just holding in that spot isn't such a bad thing in this case, I don't feel.
Yeah.
Now, again, with Bradbury, does it have to be him in that spot? I don't personally think so, which is why I'm kind of like on both sides. Like if he is leaving, okay. If he stays, cool. But he's honestly could become someone that I just don't feel like needs to have so many people up in an uproar about.
Yeah.
Regardless of his decision.
We're either way. We're in a decent shape cornerback wise. So I mean, it's just a matter of time. Let's just not. Again, I just don't want to put too much stock on like, oh, person didn't show up, like especially if other people didn't show up. But moving to the offensive side of the ball, so because this was crazy. So we had two updates of wide receiver. First being the first day of OTAs. One of our first free agent signings, Devontae Parker, decided to retire the first day of OTAs. Granted, okay, I'm looking at both sides of this because, like, on one hand, he had a 9-year career. He had good showings at times. He had. I don't think he has anything to really.
You want to make a 10-year career?
No. Okay, wait. I'm getting.
I know.
Because like, look, he had good showings here and there. However, I think it was time to hang it up. He's a guy who is very lackluster nowadays, and most people aren't really much excited about. He's a good vet presence, but at the same time, he can't really get separation on guys anymore, and he's just not what he was. But also, looking at like the time of it, it's like, damn, not like we didn't get the whole day, and like you ready to dip. I mean, but at the same time, want to spend time with his family. I would never be against that at all. I can never be mad at anybody for wanting
it's
that.
just weird timing wise, where it's like you just showed up to practice with us first day, and now you want to leave and be done.
At the same time, I didn't think he was gonna make the team anyway, to be honest.
No, yeah, fair.
But also looking at another signing from one old guy to another, because he retired the first day of OTAs. As of this morning, it was reported that John Ross, another former wide receiver, who signed with us as I think a training camp deal.
It had to be training camp.
He ended up being now signed to the team. Like, it's a 1-year non-guaranteed, but he's officially signed to the Eagles. If you don't know who John Ross is, he's an NFL veteran wide receiver. He played on the Bengals. I believe he played around the same years as Ocho Cinco played for the Bengals.
That's why I know the Ross name then.
Yeah. So he was, for a while, he was considered one of the fastest wide receivers in the league. At the Combine, he had the record for the fastest 40 time. That was until Xavier Worthy, this past draft Combine, came in and shattered that record. So, yeah, this guy, and from reports coming in, he still has that speed. He still has the legs in him. So, hey, it looks like the old dog still has new tricks. So, I'm happy for him. We'll see what he can do, if he can make it long term on this team. But even if he doesn't, I'm still very, very positive in the wide receiver 3 position, because we have guys who can still fill that role. Paris Campbell is looking good, and I'm very excited for Nia Smith.
I don't remember, only because I haven't looked in the wide receiver position a whole lot. I don't remember. Do we still have, because Julio Jones was a 1-year sign, right?
Yeah, he was a 1-year deal.
Okay.
We didn't bring him back. Honestly, I think he decided to retire.
I think he's retiring now. Yeah.
I think he is retired. But we looking at who we have now, though, for wide receiver 3, we have much better options than Quez Watkins. Yeah. And looking at who we have left, Paris Campbell is a great guy. Looks like he's another veteran. Not as long as John Ross and Devontae Parker, but still, I think he has at least six years plus.
And that's why I was asking, because I definitely picked up.
No, it might not be 6 years plus. It might be at 4 or 5. But
okay, well, still counts kind of like vet years. Because I had picked up on realizing that we started drafting, or at least we started adapting more vets to our team now that we have a more understanding of the younger guys or the new guys in our team. Like, now that we have understanding of who Devontae Smith is and how he's sticking with us. Yeah. Now we have an understanding of A.J. Brown sticking with us. At least in those positions, we start then going back to getting more vets, kind of trying to get more vets involved. And I think Julio Jones was just the start of that, so I'm not surprised seeing more and more wide receiver vets kind of, if they are still willing to come back or if they are still willing to play, still coming back and us being kind of like the first to nab. We were trying first to grab him.
I mean, it's a good situation to have. I mean, because we really look at it, the wide receiver 3 position is one that, like, yes, we need to utilize more, especially in a Kellen Moore offense. Because if you look at Kellen Moore's schemes, he's going to come in. If you look at it, he utilizes wide receiver 3 more. However, look at our offense. Look, Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert, Saquon, Jalen. The wide receiver 3 position isn't exactly that necessary.
And that's where I was going to go into. Not trying to cut you off. That's why I was waiting, because I was hoping you would point out or go into. Wide receiver 3 position, to me, that's why I feel like it could really belongs, or not belongs, but it should go to a vet. It should go to someone that has been in the league, knows how it goes about, and is like you could have as a backup, kind of if need be. But he doesn't have to be one of the biggest receivers, one of the big guys. It could be a vet that knows he's a backup, but knows how to play that role, knows what to do, knows how to run that route. I just feel like, especially since they're not going to be the ones looked at the most with our run game and our 2 top-tier receivers, a vet being in that position would do no harm.
But looking at, a vet wouldn't do any harm. But at the same time, looking at, because I have a personal stake in Anais Smith. Now, Anais right now, okay, Anais is the guy we drafted in this past year's draft, in the 2024 draft. He is a wide receiver coming out of Texas A&M who is pretty much the perfect model of what you would want in a wide receiver in Philly, period, let alone a wide receiver 3. He's a guy, I guess, a bit on the shorter side. I think he's the same height or maybe slightly shorter than Devontae, but he's a guy who gets physical. He's a guy who is fast, knows how to run routes, and can muscle that ball out of defenders' hands if need be. And he's a guy who can take a hit and keep going. He's a guy, right now, he's a bit injured. I think he had like a shin splint during either the Senior Bowl or around the Combine. So he's playing it safe right now. So he's not like padded up for OTAs. However, he's a guy who, in my opinion, I believe if once he gets healthy and gets on that field, he's going to show that he is the wide receiver 3 and it's his job to lose. When you look around the league, for the NFL right now, you have a lot of teams. Well, maybe not a lot, but you have a good couple teams who have a good 3-man tandem at wide receiver, or at least had a good 3-man tandem. For the Bengals, you had Jamar Chase, Higgins. You had Tyler Boyd. Tyler Boyd, I think, if he got more snaps, would be looked at a lot more highly than he is now.
Being looked at for a minute when he was getting snaps, and then they slowed down, and then just. So you're not wrong, because he was being looked at big.
Yeah. So you have them. You have in the Seahawks right now. I mean, you have Metcalf. You have who they just drafted this past year. Why am I blanking right now? Jesus Christ, Lord help me.
He's small. He's small. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yes. Oh, Jackson Smith and Jigba. You drafted him
Smith
this
and
past year.
I'm gonna say,
Yes.
I couldn't say his last name, but I knew he had 2.
Yeah, and then you had Tyler Lockett. You have a great
That's the small one I was talking about.
A great 3-man tandem at your wide receiver positions, and guys who fit multiple different frames and fit multiple aspects as a wide receiver. DK is big. He's physical. You have Lockett. He can be fast. Lockett, DK might not be the route runner, but Lockett is
Lockett's the route runner.
Yeah.
Lockett's definitely the route runner.
Lockett's more of a route runner. He's more of like the sideline catcher. Like he's more the guy.
The nimble speedster.
Yeah, but you put in the place only he can get it, he's going to get the ball. And then you have Jackson Smith and Jigba, who is still kind of learning his way around the NFL, but he's showing that he has efficient and proper skills.
He's not afraid to get physical for the ball. Like he's not afraid to fight for the ball. At least he's learning that, or he's getting into that slowly.
He's also a speedy guy. I mean, I remember we played the Seahawks and he burned Bradbury on that. I didn't mean to bring it back to Bradbury, but that play. That's another
reason why. Look, again, another reason. Just going back to the Eagles, and last thing I would say about Bradbury, the dude's speed was never there.
Yeah.
As a cornerback, we just need a corner. That's one thing. Just going into. A lot of our cornerbacks just didn't have the speed that needed to be there last season, and it showed. And Bradbury was definitely one of them that it showed for.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that he needs to be gone, but like again, you need to understand why personally I'm like I don't feel for if he stays or if he decides never to come back or to come to another practice or whatever.
Or if he gets traded.
Or he gets traded. He's a good named guy. It's just like. Either you haven't been putting in the work that you really want to put in with this team, or you just haven't been putting in the work in the game in general. Because I swear you could do better than this.
Now, I will say, going back to the wide receiver 3 position, Now, Anais Smith, again, I'm very high on Anais being wide receiver 3. However, there have been multiple other content creators and fans saying that, like, if we don't have the wide receiver 3 in house, we could go about trading for one. And the main guy that people keep talking about is John Mechie from the Houston Texans. Now, for those of you who don't know, John Mechie was on Alabama's roster, Devontae's last year when they won that championship. John Mechie was drafted the same year as Devontae to the Texans. John Mechie was basically one of Devontae's main running mates next to Wally. He's a dude. You bring him in here, roll tide, baby. That offense is going. That offense is going back to Alabama. He's a guy who I am very high on, and a guy who I believe we can get for cheap, considering the Texans right now have so much of a surplus in wide receivers because you have Diggs, you have Brown, you have Tank Dell, you have guys who you have people to spare. So and Mechie is the bottom of that totem pole. Yes,
I forgot they have Diggs now.
Yeah. Yes, he's had issues with his health because he got I believe it was leukemia that he got diagnosed with. However, he is in remission right now, I believe, or at least he's in a better place than he was. Like he's not like at a place where he can't play at all. So, I believe if you don't want to give a nice that shot, or if he's not healthy enough in time, get John Mechie. I'd be happy with that. I would be very very happy with John Mechie. And again, wide receiver 3. It is a position where we have some need, but it's not that dire. But again, in Kellen Moore's offense,
It's
his
a position.
offensive
It's a
schemes,
position
he makes it work.
Because words. It's a position. God, it's a position that we can risk,
Yes.
but we want to risk with things that we know are either going to work out or show us new things to work out in the future.
I'm a guy who I love having a homegrown talent. I love even if the person is not from Philly, knowing that we drafted that guy and they came up in our system and they became a star. I love that. But at the same time, John Mechie being an Alabama guy and a guy who played next to Devontae, I think that would work wonders for this team, and I would be all for it. But time will tell. We'll see what happens. Again, my stock is mainly on Nia Smith right now. But if it's not him, John Mechie is a great
I think John Mechie. I like because I've seen his work with the Texans enough, and I need to look more into the other guys.
Nia Smith.
Yeah, Nia Smith.
Texas A&M.
Yeah, I'm saying his college work. I need to look more into his college work. Yeah. But I've seen Mechie on the Texans, and the dude has some speed to him. He got some speed. He got some strength to get through some people. I don't know if he's always the best in fighting for the ball. If it's throwing up like that,
I think he has a decent win rate. I think he's he does he has the effort. He tries.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So he at least it's not for me. It's I can tell that the dude fights for the ball. Maybe it's not always always going to win in his favor, but he fights for the ball, and we need people like that. So having someone with the equal or a similar speed to Devontae that fights for a ball like him doesn't have to be his exact size or so. Maybe he's a bit shorter, but if he fights for the ball like him, and they already have that connection, bring him in. Put him in that number 3.
So I know he didn't play with Jalen. So Jalen was already in the league at that time. So he played with Mac Jones when he was playing with Devontae. But still, that's not.
I mean, it's still
good.
Devontae. Still, you know your wide receiver wide receiver teammate. You know how if he you have someone you can go to on that team. If you are lost, you know you go to for someone to show you your way.
Of course.
And the fact that Devontae, I just want to say, just again, last thing on him, the fact that he came to us and became a star player with us is just, I just didn't think about it for real until now, how he really grew into, he became, because first team, he became a star wide receiver first season with us.
Oh yeah. I'm very happy with where we're at as a team. That's the reason I have a Devontae Smith jersey, and I plan to get a Jalen Hurts, Kelly Green jersey. I love our homegrown talent.
I need Devontae Smith, and I need AJ Brown.
I need to get AJ Brown too.
I need number 11. I need that.
But I'm very happy where we're at right now, and I'm happy with where the team's at. I am excited to see where we go from here, and I'm excited to get this season started. Now, moving on to our third team, because we didn't get into these guys last episode. But we gotta show love to the Phillies, man.
Oh yeah, the Phillies.
We got it. The Phillies have been on fire, baby.
It's
fire.
The second season.
This is
And it just started. We know it just started. Don't get us wrong. We know it just started. But coming off of the last season that y'all had, the Phillies, oh my God.
We should have gotten back to that World Series again. We should have been 2 years in a row. We should have won last year. However, things happened. Things didn't shake out well.
But it was a fight. It was a fight.
was.
It wasn't even like for me, all last year's sports was for Philly. We can be disappointed in 76ers. I guess I would count that as this year,
Every
last year.
single freaking
Yeah, that
year.
this year, last year, whatever's going on currently now, even we can still count that to being kind of disappointment in 76ers for right now. I still have hope, but for right now, that's just
That's cute. You have hope. That's really cute.
Listen, slightly, because this has been happening for years. So I'm just, but the Eagles last season, yeah, they kind of disappointed at the end a bit. I'm glad we made it to the playoffs as we did, but it was still kind of disappointing near the end. But the Phillies, they have been coming through year after year for the past 2 seasons at least.
I'll say three.
Three? Okay, that's what I was thinking. I wasn't sure. I wasn't going to push it. I wasn't sure. Because I've only been looking into baseball really the past 2 seasons. But I've heard about the Phillies in the past 3 since living back in Philly for the past 3.5, 4 years. So I've been hearing about them since I've been back. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, I assume 3, but safely, like I've been looking into them the past 2 years, and they have been killing it.
Let's go
Every World Series, every playoff, like
real quick. Let me give the quick rundown. So
every push for it, at least I say.
Yeah. So currently, the Phillies have the best record in the MLB right now,
Which is
at
not surprising.
At the time of recording this, they just beat the Texans again. They just beat the Texas Rangers again. They currently stand at 37 wins, 14 losses. The next best record after them is the Yankees with 35 wins, 17 losses.
Damn.
In our own division, in our own division, in the NL East, the closest team to us is the Atlanta Braves with 28 wins and 18 losses.
Okay.
We're
topping.
We're like 6 games ahead of the Braves right now.
For me, I just want as an outsider that's coming into baseball and coming into like really understanding the baseball as a sport.
I'm sorry, 9 games up on your.
But as someone who's coming to understanding baseball as a sport and gaining a love for it, honestly, hearing that we are top of, I don't know for how long, the most top 2 teams talked about in the MLB to me has been like the Yankees, the Red Sox, or maybe the White Sox. Those three. Maybe I say maybe because sometimes it's not, but their names get thrown in sometimes. But mainly just the Yankees and the Red Sox. I've always nonstop, I've been raised around Northeast. I've been raised around Connecticut, New York, and Philly all my life. So I've always heard about those 2, right? This is the first time I've ever heard of any team topping them in my 20 years of living. Now, granted, obviously that's happened before. Obviously, this isn't the first time it's happened, but it's the first time I'm hearing about it. So for me, from my shock as an outsider coming in, this is really, really satisfying and just really like amazing to hear.
Yeah. Now, mind you, looking at the team right now, we came into this season where we lost Reese Hoskins. Trey Turner has been injured for I think a good 10 games plus so far because he got injured earlier on this season. We're not even at our like full strength right now because we're still missing Trey. We have guys who have really stepped up so well. Alec Bohm is here. I said this last year. I thought last year was going to be where he really like stepped up and really became a star. He's shattering that so far this year. Oh my! This man has one of the best bats in the league right now. It's insane. Watching this team has been amazing, and it's added so many more years onto my life. Now, where the Sixers have drained me, the Phillies are giving me life.
They've refilled.
Yes.
They've refilled you.
Now, mind you, yes, in hindsight, with Philly sports, we all know how this goes. We could turn around and like fast forward to October. We might not even be in the playoffs.
It could be the most depressing thing in the next 2 months.
However, I will not allow that to deter me right now. I say, you know what, screw it. I'm enjoying this. I'm going to enjoy this moment while I have it. So, hey.
And again, as someone
Phillies, we up, baby.
As someone that, again, is coming into the baseball world as a whole, kind of new, and open to it, trust me. You could take what I say with a grain of salt, whatever you want on baseball, because I am new to it. I am open to it. I am coming in, experiencing for the first hand the games and such, and I'm loving it. And I see where or what it does for when one of your teams is really kind of doing so lackluster, and then you have someone like the Phillies coming through for you and like save your spirit. I don't know.
I think Spirit can work. I think Spirit works.
Cause save your spirit, or at least your hope in Phillies sports, because for me, again, as someone that wasn't really into baseball a whole lot, for a while, for me, it was that way for 76ers and Eagles. It was just like a lot of times I would be watching 76ers and I'd be like, don't even know why I'm watching y'all. I don't even know why I want to be watching it. And then I'd go to the Eagles, watch the Eagles game, and I would be hyped up, loving Philly, celebrating Philly, everything, loving it. And it just kind of refilled me, right? And so now having baseball kind of opened up to me and going through that, the Phillies are just constantly keeping me on a high that I'm not trying to come back from.
Yes.
Like that is like especially having to wait at least for the Eagles and then dealing with what we went through with 76ers, the Phillies have just been carrying me on that high for a while now, and I'm just happy to be there and be a part of it. That's all. As far as someone outside coming new,
So for me it's a bit of a personal stake because again, not only was I born and raised in Philly, grew up on Philly sports my entire life. I also used to play baseball when I was a kid. So I used to play little league baseball. Uh, so for me, it's a bit extra personal. But baseball is a sport that I love playing and watching it professionally. It's I really enjoy it, especially when your team has such great guys and star players. Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, Alec Boehm. We have homegrown guys in Alec Boehm and Bryson Stott who have been so great. You have Kyle Schwarber giving you Schwar bombs, bro. It's amazing. Even Castellanos, he may go on his periods where he can barely hit or he's swinging at everything, but when he's on, oh my gosh, that man is incredible. So again, for me, this personal stake, I'm really enjoying this so much right now. I gotta get back to a Phillies game, man. I haven't gone since last year, but I gotta get back out there because it's so enjoyable.
I'm saying as someone that's gone to two this no yeah two 3 last season, and I'm not gonna say like 3 in a row, but like 2 weeks separate, I guess 2 weeks break. Uh, the games, going to the games, especially going to a Philly anything sports game,
Yeah.
the fan base
Oh,
really
yes.
makes you really
Oh, yes.
embrace whatever sport. Even, like literally, when I tell you I was like I'm new to baseball coming in, like I did not care for baseball up until I was 21, maybe 21, and that's when I started giving any care about it. And I was 22 and I'm 23, about to be 24. So this was like last year. No, I was 21. Yeah, I was 21 when I went to my first baseball game. So actually going to the game and being there with like the Philly fan base and watching the Phillies play, that just opened my eyes to a whole new experience, and to where I can really understand why, not like why it's good to be a fan base of a lot more multiple sports of one area than just the one sport. Like say it's better to be fans of multiple sports within the one state instead of just one sport, because then you can have something to always look forward to every season, right?
Yeah.
But it's also good because you have something like this to lift you up whenever another season has plummeted you to the ground.
Yep.
Like the whole thing with like I was saying earlier, with for me it was the Eagles, with the Eagles being dropped out the playoffs and such. It was a kind of a plummet because I was like, okay, it didn't even feel like they really fought. I felt like they gave up at the end. It felt like they gave up, and I was plummeted, I was destroyed. And then I would look into a Phillies game, and I would be rejuvenated, re- refreshed, and just excited all over again off of a sport that I genuinely didn't even care about for like what, almost most all my life until now. So it's just amazing to me what baseball can do, or at least what being open-minded involving certain sports could really show you what you're missing out on. And I definitely have been missing out on baseball. So
I think the thing I'm mainly surprised about in this stretch for us is that our pitching has actually been really, really good. Because for the
Yeah.
past like 3 years or so, our pitching was one of the weakest points for this team. But you looking at it right now, Ranger Suarez is doing his thing. Zach Wheeler's doing his thing. Even Aaron Nola having good stretch.
and I didn't even know there was three separate pitchers, because I only remember,
more than that, actually.
I only remember ever seeing like two of them two of them interchanging when going to the games.
Yeah. So normally it's like you have your guys who are your main starting pitchers, but then you have guys who you have as your closers.
Okay.
So most of the time, ideally, you want a starting pitcher to make it through at least the sixth, seventh inning, and then you put in your closer for
For the
rest
eighth
of the
and
game.
ninth. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
so-
however, sometimes it goes wonky. So sometimes you might have like Aaron Nola. Sometimes has bad games where like he's just like can't really get in that strike zone, and so you might pull him out after like the third or fourth, and you might have to transition and get two more guys. So like you have a guy in the middle, but also a guy to finish it out in the closing innings. So, be able to, even though it hasn't always been perfect, we've had some mishaps here and there so far this season. But given the fact that like our pitching is considered one of the best in the league right now, that is a very surprising fact, and I am so happy for it. And now, can it hold up? Can we finish it out for the season? Who knows?
I want to say yes.
I do too. I want to say yes.
Only because it's been 3 years now that I've been in this baseball world, and I haven't been really let down yet by Phillies too much. So I want to say yes.
But at the same time, again, I know how this usually goes for Philly sports, so we shall see.
Yeah.
But even still, I'm going to enjoy this while I can, because how often can you say your team has the best record in the league right now, having a great multi-game winning streak? Like
I
come
said,
on.
I'm gonna ride this high that the Phillies are giving me for as long as I can, because I want to go into the Eagles season feeling confident, feeling strong about the team, and any doubts that I have in my mind for this offseason, I'm just going to have to ignore and go watch a Phillies game for.
Exactly. We talking about the fightins, the fightins, baby. So I'm excited. I'm happy. I think that's a great point to end off the show.
Oh, definitely. I will definitely say I'm going to be coming with more Philly facts from myself. Like I want to look more into this as a whole, because I want to be able to contribute to more to the knowledge of Phillies as a baseball team.
We'll get you fully indoctrinated. Don't worry. But thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Sports from the Chair. We appreciate you guys for all support. We now have an Instagram page. Same name, Sports from the Chair. Look us up, follow us, and
there's gonna be I'll say little shorts coming up.
Yeah. We'll probably post
little reels here and there, kind of on catch ups or anything we're missing out where we can't get into the studio or can't get together to try and actually give you guys a show.
We'll make sure to supply you guys with some good content here and there. Don't worry, we'll keep it flowing. Also, follow Trey on Twitch. He streams and plays video games.
So I do stream on Twitch. I am going under Switz_G. That's SWITZ_G. I'm just a goofer. I just play games just to have fun with my friends and goof around. I'm trying to build up a community, make people laugh, and have people have something to look forward to, enjoy, and just relax and watch and be a part of. So come check me out on Twitch. I have some stuff up right now. I'm going to be going live, possibly, if not tonight, tomorrow. But yeah, we are going to be doing some more stuff future-wise with this channel, with this podcast on Twitch as well.
Yes, sir.
So that's why we're trying to bring Twitch into the conversation as such.
Also, we have our own lives outside of this too. I mean, come on, come give us some support, man.
Yeah, definitely. But again, we want to try and make sure everything's connected with each other. I'm going to support both our own stuff and this as well. Yeah. So, like I said, try and getting to the Twitch thing. We're thinking about doing certain live viewings on certain games or certain playoffs or things that go down within Philly sports that are happening in the moment. So look out for that.
Yeah. So we're trying a lot of things with this channel. We're trying to be versatile, give you all some really good content to watch. So come support us, join the family. Let's all just
join the family by the chair. Join the family by the chair.
Join the family by the chair. Man, come on. Well, yeah, that's all for us. Thank you guys for listening to another episode. We will catch you guys again, hopefully next Friday. Again, watch the video that I posted recently talking about the Sixers draft analysis, the top 5 guys who I look at the 16th overall pick. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the content. Hope you guys enjoyed listening to this. It was a bit all over the place, but
maybe you learned something new about sports you didn't know before.
Yeah.
Like myself, it's always good to be open. If you aren't into sports but you're a Philly native and you want to know what all the hoopla's about,
yeah.
Like I said, I'm just now getting into baseball myself. So you come learn with us, come hang with us.
So hope you guys have a blessed day. Y'all be breezy, be lovely, all that good stuff.
Be chilling.
Yeah, everything. Have a good one, y'all. Catch you in the
Catch
next
y'all.
episode.